Joining us now is Fox News legal analyst Loretta Powers. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. So happy to be on, Ed.
Now, good to have you. I was just talking about how we were waiting for Donald Trump to take the stage and how you and I are going to talk about some legal stuff going on while that happens. Hopefully people will remain focused on us because there is a lot of anticipation there. Let's talk about the Charleston church shooter, Dylan Roof. The jury came to a decision yesterday, and they chose death. Now, what is the implication there when it comes to his federal charges that he's facing? Or was that the federal charge?
It is a federal charge, and basically the state was on deck just in case he didn't get the death penalty. So I see the state charges going away. And once a person is sentenced to death, then the appeals process is automatic. And so he's going to want that public defender now. However, I see the appeal process as not a way to relitigate the facts. Basically, the sentence is going to stand. He doesn't get another bite at the apple.
So how long is the appeals process? Because obviously putting someone to death isn't something taken lightly. At the same time, we're pretty much 100% sure he is guilty of this, even by his own admission. Is that a faster process, or are there the same amount of appeals?
It's the same amount of appeals. So we're looking at about 6 to 8 years in this process. It's going to be lengthy. It's going to be expensive. But at the end of the day, the death penalty was created for situations like this.
I saw one of the brothers of a victim talking about it, and he expressed it very well that it's, I guess, justice, but it's not going to bring his sister back. And the question is, for a great many people, does this solve anything? Does it really keep people from committing crimes like this? Does the death penalty do enough to dissuade someone?
I think in this case it really does. Look, I mean, you cannot have such hate crimes and expect a lenient sentence of life without parole. This was serious offense, and it equates serious charges.
Now let's talk about another shooting, tragically, Fort Lauderdale, with Esteban Santiago. What is the story there? This is because apparently he had canceled a trip to New York, and he was from Alaska. And how did he get the gun from the plane? And why did he get to keep his gun after reporting conspiracy theories to the FBI in his home state? It's all very confusing.
It is. Well, in Alaska, and every state is different, a person loses their right to possess a firearm if they are adjudicated as mentally unsound or if they're involuntarily committed to a psychiatric ward. Here, neither one of those things happened. So he was placed on a voluntary psychiatric evaluation, and after that, he was able to get his gun back legally. And the average citizen, I'm sure, would say, look, he should not have a gun. However, I believe that the Supreme Court feels differently and probably feels that he should have a gun because they have to balance our constitutional rights not being taken away versus the public safety.
And was there anything, is there anything that can prevent something like that from happening? If you're allowed to travel with your gun, was there anything that he did outside of the law?
Well, not outside of the law, but definitely outside of the norm. Look, he only checked one bag, which had the gun. I think that should have tipped a TSA agent off to set him aside into a different room and start asking him questions like, why are you going to Fort Lauderdale? Where's your other luggage? And also, as soon as you mention to the FBI something about ISIS, you need to be put on a no-fly list.
Yeah, well, the TSA, I'm not a fan. I've been very critical of them, and that's just another one. Let's talk about something up here in New England. The trial set to start for the pharmacy owner who was involved in the deadly meningitis breakout. 25 counts of murder, as well as charges under federal racketeering laws. What happened here?
Well, under the federal racketeering law, a prosecutor just has to prove that there was an agreement between two people to intentionally do something that was the proximate cause of someone's death. And what happened here is that there was evidence of agreements between colleagues to maximize profits by ignoring mold and using expired ingredients. And that caused the death of about 64 people because they put their profits over the public safety of others.
And how did this get past federal regulators? It happened within inspection times, or?
Right. Apparently, they were only inspecting the place about once a year. After this outbreak happened in 2012, that has changed, where the feds are inspecting these pharmacies about every month now.
Well, that seems like a good idea. For those of you out there who say, we need smaller government and less agencies, 64 people died because of this, so I would argue that it's probably a good thing. Loretta Powers, Fox News legal analyst, thank you so much for your time. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too, Ed.
Bye-bye. 888-574-2723. So far, as of yet, I've only been able to see it on screen. I don't know what has been said. Pence is on stage now. Donald Trump has yet to speak.